tight ends?
Well, I told Coach Richardson, coaching one guy, man, that's easy. Watching one person. No, it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. Felt good about the run block and stuff, and knew I could learn a lot about the passing game. So, yeah, I kind of thought I had I knew the transition was happening. I thought I could take advantage of some of the schedule and get my thoughts in order and practice plans for the spring, and then that changed. Yeah, so definitely did.
How's the center situation going right now?
Well, I couldn't be more proud of Will Putnam. Can't brag on him enough. I mean, he's done an amazing job. From the minute we had that conversation, he's been out here whenever they're able to throw it on their own. He's been snapping with DJ and getting the younger guys out here. And so he's had very few snap issues. And then from a technique standpoint, he's doing a phenomenal job. So he's a natural, and he's done a great job. Very selfless guy. And there's not a tougher kid on our team, playing with a little bit of an ankle issue, but he's not going to miss anything.
You did that same kind of move when you played. How you helped him with that transition?
Well, I think when the worst thing as a center is when you make a bad snap, right? Because then everyone who's around you has an opinion on how to fix it. And so I think I've experienced that of success and failure, right? I've had bad snaps, and so, hey, refocus. Here's your process. Here's what you can do to fix it. And one thing I'll say about Will is he can self-correct himself. I think when guys make that transition, they don't always know when they have a bad snap, and if they do, where it goes. But he knows, hey, that was low, that was high. So he's doing a really good job.
If there's an ideal in your mind, is it that he establishes himself as the guy, or that Trent Howard or Ryan comes along and?
Yeah, well, I mean, we got to get the best five on the field, So whether that's with Putt at center and someone else at guard, or whether that's Putt going to guard and Trent or Ryan coming on. I mean, those guys, Trent and Ryan, have done really well, and they've been working really hard. I'm really excited about their progress. But they're young guys, and it's a developmental position. So, and then if COVID and last year's taught us anything, is that it's the next man up mentality. Let's say Putt's the guy going into the season where you're an injury away, or you're a positive COVID test away from someone else being in there. I think Hunter Rayburn popped positive the day at Syracuse, and Mason Trotter goes in and played well. So, yeah, we need depth at that position, and you need guys that can play.
Who's repping at the one at right guard right now?
At right guard, yeah. So it's been kind of Mitch Mays, and Mitch is out with a little elbow issue, and so John Williams has been getting those reps. With J-Mac out, Brian Tucker was playing left guard, but he played some right guard today too. So, feel really good about those guys coming back that started last year. And so we're rotating a couple guys in there at right guard, try to find our best five.
Mentioned you're fat now. What's his status?
Oh, he's good to go now. Yeah,
okay.
He just missed 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, he's fine. He was back out there today. Yes,
okay. And we've seen Coach Caldwell hanging around a few practices last week. How much is he involved and engaged with you, and how does your coaching style differ? I imagine you'll continue cross-training these guys.
Well, obviously, I mean, y'all know my relationship with Coach Caldwell goes back to high school. My high school coach and him were roommates at Furman, and so I've known Coach Cole forever. And I mean, he recruited every guy on that field, and so I mean, those are still his guys. And so we're thankful he's around, and it's like a different for him now. He's not in the weeds as much, so he gets to enjoy watching the fruit of his labors and watch those guys practice, and then what he's bringing from an off the field high school relations. I feel like every time I walk in my office, he's talked to half the high school coaches in the state, and they all have a recruit, and so he's going to continue to work and provide value and be a big cheerleader for those guys up front.
I know you can't talk about specific guys, but has there been any progress as far as transfer portal and trying to bring people in?
Yeah, we're like I said, we're trying to get our best five on the field, and so we're exhausting all options. And I love the guys we have. I feel loyal to those guys. But if there's a guy out there that fits what we're looking for, not just as a player, but from our culture, and then we're certainly gonna exhaust every option.
If Putnam ends up having to be the guy, how much confidence do you have in him considering going out there?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of confidence right now. I mean, he's done a heck of a job. He had 31 competitive plays yesterday and just had one low snap, or Wednesday, I'm sorry. Today's Friday, right? Wednesday, and so he's done a heck of a job. You know, and the good thing about his snaps right now is if he misses, they're low. They're not over the head where you're chasing after in this tournament. So we've got a lot of confidence in what his progression. Only 6 practices in, he's done a phenomenal job.
As far as like the calls and stuff, is he doing okay with that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, he's a smart football player. He's played a lot, and so he knew those calls at guard. You know, I think, and that's where the benefit of cross training is. It teaches you the big picture. We've changed a few of our calls and tried to simplify some things, and so he's done a good job kind of, catching on that pretty quick.
What's the center responsible for pre-snap? How does that change for him?
Well, he sets the blocking scheme, so he IDs based if it's run or pass, who the zone combination, the gap scheme combination is going to, if it's a pass, who we're IDing and sliding to, and everyone else sets their combination blocks off of his point. So if he's wrong, we're all wrong. And so at guard, as a young player, now as an older player, he knows the points, but young guys, he tells them what to do basically. So it all starts with the center, and the quarterback, really verifies that.
What the relationship and the chemistry between the center and the quarterback, how important is that compared to?
Yeah, they've got to see things the same way. I think, and that's like Put's put in the work. He's worked hard with DJ to get extra snaps, and I think they're getting some extra film study in, especially from a protection standpoint as we get into game prep and how we want to ID protections that week. Those guys got to be on the same page, and communicate well.
I know you assisted Coach Caldwell last season. How crazy was it just with all the moving pieces that you had to move around, trying to find a starting center, just the different lineups from week to week?
Yeah, it's not ideal. Certainly not ideal. But that's why you cross train guys. Coach Caldwell did as good a job as anybody in cross training and trying to constantly get your best 5 guys on the field. I think, for me philosophically, it's cross training enough to give yourself options, but also not cross training to a degree that guys don't feel confident in one position. So I think it's what are your best 5 guys, and what's the best position for each guy, and then where does he add depth, in a cross training standpoint. So being able to watch Coach Caldwell, navigate that in the past has been helpful for me for sure.
What is your coaching style, and how are you different than Coach Caldwell, and how are you going to put your stamp on these guys?
Well, I want to be consistent every day. I want to bring the same energy and focus, and I don't want to ride highs and lows, and so I think these guys deserve my best. And one thing I've always loved about sports, no matter what's going on in your personal life, when you get on the field, you got to clock in and do your job. And it's an escape for that reason. So I'm going to try to bring the juice every day. I think I'm going to try to be consistent with them. I'm going to be fair with them. I think if we have the right kind of guys that don't need my foot up their butt every single day, right? Because my job is to get them to be the best version of themselves. And so I'm going to help them do that. And if we have strong leadership, they should be pushing each other to do that. But I want to be a technician. I mean, I try to pride myself on that as a player. But we want to play with great effort. We want to play with great technique, and we want to play with great toughness. I think those are the 3 things we really want to be as a unit.
How's Tate done with his progression since?
Yeah, Marcus has been great. He's really taken steps. I mean, he did a great job getting on the field early, and I think as the season went on, just everything that's involved in being a true freshman in college, I think caught up to him a little bit. And so he's done a great job, and he's another guy that gives you the ability to play multiple positions. With J-Mac missing a practice or 2, he played a lot of left tackle, and so feel very confident in his ability to play tackle and work hard. And so he's really, that's a good group. Him and Phil Naffa and Jake Brinneystool and those guys are really tight group of people.
Whether it was last year or just your time knowing Robbie Caldwell, what is something that you kind of gleaned from him or learned from him that you want to implement now?
Well, I think Coach Caldwell's always done a good job of keeping it simple for the guys. Coach Caldwell's been in more schemes, more offenses. He knows more football, but he does a great job of really boiling it down to the making it as easy for those guys as possible. It's not what we know, it's what they know. And so I think he's always done a good job of that. And those kids love him. I mean, they played hard for him. And so, I think players are a reflection of their coaches. And if they're not playing hard, that's because you're not doing your job as a coach. And if they're playing hard, you're doing your job.
Kind of along those same lines, what did you learn from Sean Elliott during your time at Coach State?
Well, I can't think of a better person to work for than Sean Elliott. You know, we're from the same hometown, but I never really met him until I went down to interview for him. And, obviously, he's a great person to work for, and it's a great. Loved coming to work every day for him. Just a great person. Great Summers' wife is awesome. And then from an football standpoint, learned a lot from him from a run game standpoint, from just the way to break down defenses and how to try to attack them and how to run the inside zone, the option. I mean, he has a proven track record of doing those things well. And one of the things from Sean is just like, hey, you know, just get them to play hard. I mean, that's, you know, like that can playing with extreme effort and toughness can overcome deficiencies technique-wise, physically, whatever, you know. So, yeah, he was a great guy to work for.
You came in here with CJ and blocked for him for 4 years. How cool was it to see him inducted in the Hall of Fame and now to be coaching with him?
Yeah, no, special. I mean, I was fortunate to play in the NFL for a few years too, but there wasn't a guy that was more talented than CJ on any team I played for. And then just an unbelievable person, you know, and so that his senior year, you know, he battled that toe injury all year and just showed up and worked and, you know, had a chance to leave early but wanted to graduate, you know, and so I think he's the epitome of a Clemson man, and it was certainly a pleasure to play with him. Well, yeah, that's a good question. I think consistency. You know, I think we settled in last year to our best group. You know, I think last year we were just young and some injuries, so we've got more experience this time around than we did last year at every place on our offense, and so I think for our veteran guys, it's taken the next step, and then we have some young guys that need to develop. They need to, whether that's, you know, losing a little bit of weight, or whether that's gaining a little bit of weight, or whether that's really understanding the finer details of the position. And so, you know, we need more functional depth than we had last year. And so that's where that next group of guys has to really step up.
I mean, only 6 practices in. What have you seen out of the first one?
Man, those guys are phenomenal. I mean, I told Coach Caldwell, man, he saved the best for last. Those 2 guys are great. Not just great players, but they check every box. You know, just phenomenal people, great students, great families. So I mean, that's the prototype. If you're looking for what you want to recruit moving forward, you want more Colin Sowers and Blake Millers. So they've done a great job. Blake's been playing with the second team right tackle. Really since camp started almost, you know, and then Colin's done a great job playing tackle, and he played some guard today, and, you know, feels natural in a 3-point stance. Those guys they're big, they're physical, they're athletic, and they're smart, you know, so you can work with that.
Yeah, Marcus came in early last year and was really advanced physically and had a good spring. You see them sort of the same?
Certainly, I certainly do. I mean, those guys, you know, they came in and just got to work and earned the respect of their teammates, you know, in the weight room and how they went through off-season workouts. And so that physically, they came in ready to play. Great strength programs, you know, great coaching. Those guys really came in well developed, and they've really picked up on it well. I think our install plan has been manageable for them, and I think they're very few. I think each one of those guys had one mental mistake, you know, in their first scrimmage, which was really good. You know, and Collins came playing guard that he hadn't played yet, and Blake's really wasn't a mental. He made a call, but it was too late. You know, so those guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Nick Eason was saying that they want to simplify the defense some. I know you mentioned simplifying some things on the offensive line. Is that a concerted effort as a staff, or is that just kind of?
Well, I think one thing, you know, from a defensive standpoint, when they simplify their install, it allows them to work fundamentals and techniques. It also allows us to work fundamentals and techniques. You know, when you have to prepare for, you know, every defense imaginable, you know, you have to spend time working on your responsibilities, and it takes away from some of your technique and fundamental stuff. So we certainly want to simplify things. You know, be great. Yeah, I think if you can simplify things in spring and fall and get great at what you want to be, then it gives you more flexibility in season to add wrinkles and things as it goes on. You know, so yeah, certainly plan we're doing.
Haven't seen 47 blitzes yet.
Haven't seen 47 blitzes yet. No, yeah. So it's shock and awe. No. So it's been good. I think it's gotten both sides better for sure.
You think Will's move to center is beneficial for his future, just in terms of projection for the
Certainly,
next level?
yeah, certainly. I mean, I had to play all three.
Yeah.
Most people don't know, but you only dress out 7 linemen on game days in the NFL, and so the more positions you can play, the more you can help yourself. And so I think he's certainly helping his stock by playing center.
How much of a blessing was it to get McFadden back?
Oh yeah, man, that's the best kid. We couldn't have signed a better recruit than Jordan McFadden. So, again, just unbelievable kid, great team player. Is a quiet leader, but brings guys along with him. And so he's about his business, and he's not just out here, clocking in. He's trying to get better. He's trying to improve his fundamentals and techniques and his understanding of football. It's been exciting to watch.
Is there anybody who's really kind of caught your eye and you feel like, yeah, okay?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, all those guys. I mean, I've been really. I mean, I think Put's really caught my eye. I mean, he's made the transition. Made it look. I don't want to say easy, but he's doing really well. And then both, Putnam and Parks have been very consistent. Parks and Jordan have been very consistent at tackle. And to see Marcus make that next step. So anytime we go in the staff meeting and we're talking about, is there any coach always asks, is there anyone you're disappointed in who's not coming along? I say no. I mean, I'm excited about all these guys, and I think they're all developing and they're all putting the work in. That's really all you can ask for.
I was going to ask, is that something that led to some of those mental mistakes, especially early last year? Is just maybe not spending as much time on the fundamentals and not being the same?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think football can be a complicated game, I mean, we went right out of the gate playing the national champs, so your margin of error is very small when you play a team of that caliber, and I don't think it was that as much as just we had to kind of settle into who our identity was going to be, and you had injuries at certain positions, and I think one thing is not just the injuries we had during the season, but some of the injuries we had in preseason camp that affects your rhythm, wide receiver and quarterback, and some of those running backs, and then up front, guys missing time, and so I think it's more just kind of settling in, to who you want to be and your identity. So that's probably more what I would say.
With a lot of those injuries, I mean, it's obviously part of the game. There's only so much you can do.
That's right.
But are there any, precautions, or any more precautions being taken because of how injuries affected the O-line last year?
Yeah, well, if it was all, we had 5 ACLs, we had 5 shoulders, and there was some kind of correlation there that you could look to, maybe. I think Coach Hogan and Coach Bassett do a phenomenal job in the weight room, and Alex Bina and the Castle. I mean, we try to do a lot of preemptive exercises and stuff. So, football's a violent game. I mean, it really is. I think we've been very fortunate in years past. We haven't had injuries. My